With qualitative data, names identify the different categories or classes. This data can be summarized using a frequency distribution. A frequency distribution is a table that summarizes the number or frequency of items in each of several non-overlapping classes. The classes are formed by the names, and the number of items is just a count. We will illustrate this using an example. The table on the screen lists the pizza preferences of 50 college students. This table does not reveal much in the way of useful information. This is simply not the way humans are used to looking at data. It is too many observations to take in. A frequency distribution is a useful way to summarize this data. We will simply count the number of times each pizza appears in the table. As a result of that count, we see that 8 prefer Bruno's, 2 prefer Domino's, 9 prefer Little Caesars, 19 prefer Papa John's, 4 prefer Pizza Hut, and 8 prefer Willie's Uptown. The frequency table shown on the screen provides much more useful information at just a glance than did the list of all the sales shown earlier. A relative frequency table summarizes the proportion of items in each class. To develop one, for each class, divide the frequency of the class by the total number of observations. For example, for Bruno's Pizza, we would divide the preference of 8 by the total survey of 50 to get a relative frequency of 0.16. To convert a relative frequency table to a percent frequency table, we simply multiply the numbers by 100 to convert them to percentages. The relative frequency of a class is expressed by the equation shown on the screen. This screen shows the resulting relative frequency and percent frequency tables for this example. Do you see how each number was computed? As we saw earlier, there were 50 preferences. Of those, 8 were for Bruno's. Thus, 8 divided by 50 tells us that 16% of the students prefer Bruno's. The other values are computed by dividing the preference of that brand by the total survey of 50. A quick check of your work is that all the numbers in a relative frequency table should sum to 1, and all the numbers in a percent frequency table should sum to 100%. A bar chart is a chart made up of vertical or horizontal rectangles, where each rectangle represents the frequency for that class. The height can represent frequency, relative frequency, or percent frequency. A pie chart is a circle divided into slices, where the size of each slice represents its relative frequency or percent frequency. We will see examples of each of these. This screen shows an Excel bar chart of the pizza preference data. On the horizontal axis, we have placed a label for each brand, while the vertical axis measures frequency. To construct the bar chart, Excel draws a bar of fixed width corresponding to each class label. Each bar is drawn so that its height equals the frequency corresponding to its label. Because the height of each bar is a frequency, we refer to this chart as a frequency bar chart. A pie chart is another graphic that can be used to depict a frequency distribution. When constructing a pie chart, we first draw a circle to represent the entire data set. We then divide the circle into sections or pie slices based on the relative frequency of the classes. For example, remembering that a circle consists of 360 degrees, Bruno's, which has a relative frequency of 0.16, is assigned a slice that consists of 0.16 times 360 degrees equals 57.6 degrees. The other slices are handled in a similar fashion.